Let's go to the topic of project browser management or project browser settings. Look guys, one of the most important things you should do in a project is project browser management, or better to say, manage your views. One of the things we do at the beginning of a project is to create the views we need. When our work is a little more solid, we do this at the beginning of the project. If the beginning of the project is a little more boring, one of the important things we do is to create views and arrange them together. This is called sheet layering. What does this mean? It means that I create a view just to put in a sheet, arrange it, and make it place and make it a title. This means that when you go to the plot of phase 2, when you enter that part of story, you don't have the time to duplicate the views, make its name, make its title, put it in a sheet, make its title, make its place. So you don't enter this part. So at the beginning of a project, one of the most important things you can do is this. For example, we have a project that we are working on. It is a very large project, and because it's a very large, it takes a long time to get us that the plot phase 1 must be phase 2, it comes out and then comes to us. And on top of that, we haven't modeled our whole project yet. We modeled a small part of it, which was actually given to us. What did we do instead? We came and made these views here. We made the name of the views, we made the sheet binding of the views, we made the sheets, we viewed in the sheets. We did these things. This causes, because of the large size of the project, so it took a lot of time, and we didn't want to waste any time on this subject. So don't think that you should do this work after your modeling is completed. No, this is something that can be done better in the beginning of the project, but we're talking about scheduling because it depends on the scheduling session too. I will explain to you that if you have time, you can do these things in the beginning of the project. Well, I was saying that one of the most important things that you can do is to organize your project browser. As you can see now, I have 3 plans here from the first layer: dimension, flooring, and furniture. Now I have 2 slings. Imagine that I'm supposed to have these 3 duplicates of views for all of these layers, and these are here. That is, when I open the architectural plan here, I have a full view here. Do you think it's easy to access this view? That is, if I had to do a full view here, I would have 3 different views from each layer. Do you think it's not a very strange thing to find them in a compressed size of work? This is where organizing this part comes in handy. So this is where I'm gonna say organizing this part is gonna come in very handy to you guys. What do I mean by organizing? Now, it can be customary, it can be based on a standard of a company, or it can be something that is customary now, and I'm telling you now. Look, the normal scheduling of this project is like this. For example, the dimensions of the plans should be one folder. When I say one folder, I mean one of these that I have written a dimension plan, and all the dimensions of this project should be in this folder. A folder is good for flooring, a folder for furniture, a folder for slings, which I have here now. So there should be a folder for everything, for sections. As you can see, there should be a different folder. Now you may come here and say that the section and shows have their own folders. These are elevation sections, but the point is that if your project is big, you have to part the shows and sections. That is, divided them, put one all over again, then come to and put the partitions. For example, it's good that the overall are in one project and the parts are in another folder. so that you know which section are parts and which sections are overalls. Usually you create a big show from the floor and the empty spaces in the phase 2 album. This is good that they have separated folders. Interestingly, if I put a box here now, for example, show its pillars here, it comes to this folder and creates a view for me. So look, in addition to these 3 views, I have another view for the big pillar show. These can't be done in one folder. They should be separated and should be consistent and different people in team so they don't get lost. They know that when they want to go to the big pillar show, there is a folder called Sarah's layout. They open it, the plans for example, the shows, see the contents, and they can access any of the views they want. Let's move on. How do we do this now? How do I download all my views? How do I organize my project browser? I want to tell you 2 ways to do this. I like the second way much more, but if there is a project that I am working on, I use this method usually. In my opinion, it's more professional to use this method, but the first method is also correct. That is also, it's going to organize your project browser. There's also a simpler method. Let's see together. Suppose I want to take my dimension plans in a separate folder. How should I do this? First step, you choose one of those views. For example, now I have a plan here and the size of the first layer. If I want to produce a size plan for all these views, that is, I want to duplicate these views, I want to change its name and have dimension plans. Of course, I want to take all of them in that floor. We're talking about one of the views now. Then we will see the completion together. I choose one of the views. Then I come here and take a duplicate from the view. How do we always duplicate objects? We go to the edit type and duplicate it from here. Here I go to the edit type of this view. In this case, it's a floor plan, architecture plan. I go to the edit type and duplicate it. Why? Because I want to create a template that Revit does not have. Revit does not have my dimension plan template. So if we didn't have anything, what would we do here? The answer is that we should create it. You might want to know, like, how are we going to create this? We go to the edit type and duplicate it. Now you're going to do exactly the same thing. I go to the edit type and duplicate it. It says, what name do you want to give this new template? Of course, it's clear. I say dimension plan and I say okay. Okay. Now when I say okay, be aware of this project browser. When I say okay here, this plan that I have chosen, this view that I have chosen, goes into a new template that I have created myself. And the name floor plan, dimension plan. You may ask here, where is the floor plan from? I didn't give it a name. Look, this is actually a floor plan. For example, it is not a ceiling plan. It is not a ceiling plan. It's not a structural plan. This is a floor plan. Now, what is it? What's the name of this? Dimension plan. You actually have to consider what is this name. So when I come to duplicate this view, I don't have to come and write floor plan. I have to say dimension plan. It has its own plan. You don't have to add anything to it. You see, it's that easy. Now let's go and get some more duplicates from another view. Let's bring them into this template and see what they look like. For example, I come here and I get a duplicate from the second floor. I change its name and I say second floor dimension plan. Now here I will click on OK. Let's get a duplicate from the third floor. Duplicate third floor dimension plan. Now let's say I've done this to the end and this is correct. Now, this template is not really correct. How do I get into this template? Of course, you know what? I don't have to go back and say edit type, duplicate, dimension plan, because I have it. If I had something, I just had to change its type. Look, with this template, it's like an object. If you don't have a wall type, what do? You come here and put the wall back from something that is in the default. You go to the edit type, duplicate, change its name, and create a new type. Now, if you want to reuse the walls you've made, or if you have another wall, you want to put it on the new wall you made, do you come and duplicate it again? No, you come and open this list and choose your wall. That's exactly what I'm saying for the views. Let's say you're duplicating an object. Now, do I have a dimension plan template or not? Of course I do. So I don't have to make it anymore. I choose these two. I just open this list. As you can see, the dimension plan template is added here. I open the list and choose the dimension plan. As you can see, these are now in the dimension plan template. So you do the same thing for the flooring and furniture. It's not strange. I choose flooring here. Do I have a template called flooring plan? No. So what do? I will create it. I go to the edit type. I duplicate it. I will name it flooring plan. See, I have another template called flooring plan. I do the same for furniture. Edit type, duplicate, and I give it a name. Furniture plan. See, it's much more organized. Now, if you duplicate all the views and make a template, it's much easier to access. If you want to work on a furniture plan, you open this template, you choose your plan and work on it. If you want to work on a flooring plan, you do the same. You may ask me what happens in this template. See, in fact, I always work like this. This is what we do in our company. These plans that we have here are WIP plans. What does this mean? The plans that we work on during the project are these plans. Now, when we draw a plan, we usually have to work on these plans. We work on these views. I can't go to a dimension plan and work on these views. I have to work on this view that I created. This is for the modeling. When I complete my modeling, I add these things to it. These are the plans that I work on, plans that can't be displayed to the employees. These are the WIP plans for us. When I work, I come here and choose one. I go to edit type view and rename it. I name it WIP like this. I do it for myself. I think it's very interesting. Like this, as you can see here. You can do it too. You can make as many as you want here. You can make WIP plans, even if your dimension plans are supposed to have one overall and one part. You can change the arrangement, and you can say here, for example, dimension plans overall, and then take the parts in another arrangement, just like the one we just had. You can name it part dimension plans. This way you're arranging the project more efficiently. You are arranging the project so that is easier for you to access the view. This is something that you should do in your project. It's an important part of your project. Usually the project manager will do this. And usually when other people are working and modeling, he will say and make these arrangements. He will prepare the file and it's easier to access the view. This is the first method. That is easy and you can use it. There is another method. In that method, you go to the project browser and choose the department that you want to use. So this is another topic. I really like this method and I use it a lot. I will explain it to you. You can use any of these two methods you like. In the next session, we will go and talk about the second method.